How are you?
I'm fine. This is looking forward to this very much.
You've been following the news over the last week about Michael Jackson's death.
Quite difficult to escape.
Do you think there's been too much coverage?
Well, for every death is a tragedy.
Who was the big pop icon of your...
I played Bing Crosby when I was young, Elvis Presley later on, the Beatles.
Tony Benn, great to see you. You've just started your watch. Now, we haven't quite started. You've got your own stopwatch.
Yeah, stop it now. It's 4 seconds.
You probably don't quite know what's about to hit you. We've got to try and get a lot of questions in.
Being an old BBC producer, I can give you 38 seconds or 4 minutes and 2 minutes, 4 hours and 2 minutes on demand. I'll do the best I can, but I shall be very, very brief. Will I see the clock all the time?
Yes, I'll hold it here for you.
Oh, well, then I won't need my stopwatch. OK.
2, 1. Now, you were Minister for Technology. You started your watch again. You were Minister for Technology in the 60s. How technological are you now?
Well, the important thing about technology is what you do with it. I mean, the technology changes, but moral questions don't change. Wrong to kill somebody with a bow and arrow, wrong to kill somebody with an atomic bomb. So technology gives society an opportunity. The question is, how do you use it?
Do you have a mobile telephone? You do, of course.
Yes.
Do you send text messages?
Yeah. Yes.
Are you on Facebook?
No.
Well, you are in a way because you've got fans on Facebook.
Maybe.
What about Twitter?
No.
Tell me about Concorde, because you went on one of the very early flights.
Yes, I flew on the 4th supersonic test flight and on the last flight. I didn't start it, but 250,000 jobs at stake, and I stopped them cancelling it.
You had a parachute on that flight.
Yes, I did.
These answers are admirably brief. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the huge names you've met over your life. Who's made the biggest impression on you, do you think?
Well, the 3 great moral leaders of my life have been Gandhi, Mandela and Tutu.
And you've met them all?
I've met them all. None of them European, and none of them white. And I think it's very important to remember that teaching is the key thing. History is made by teachers and movements, not by political leaders. They come and go. Before
we go back to Gandhi, your wife, of course, was a teacher.
She was.
You must miss her terribly because she passed away back in 2000.
Yes, she came as a student to Oxford in 1948. I met her on the 2nd of August, very shy, didn't propose for 9 days. And she said yes, and we had 50 years together before she died.
So what was Gandhi like to meet?
Well, I don't remember what he said, except I know he didn't pat me on the head and talk to my dad. He was sitting on the floor, and he said, "Come and sit down." And I sat next to him and listened to him, and I can't remember what he said. But the power of the man and the power of non-violence is huge in the world.
And what was Winston Churchill like?
Well, I met him a couple of times. I think I spoke to him once. He helped me when I was having a bit of trouble with the House of Lords. And, of course, during the war, I remember his speeches and so on. He was well to the left of New Labour. He nationalised the Anglo-Persian Oil Company before 1914 and so on. But during the war, he kept us going.
You mentioned that you had a bit of trouble with the House of Lords. Now, you were kicked out of the House of Commons when you inherited your father's title.
That's right.
But you were able to renounce that when new legislation came in.
Well, there was a by-election to replace me. I stood as a disqualified candidate with a letter from Churchill, got back with a bigger majority, took me to court, threw me out again. There's such a row, they changed the law, and I got rid of the damn thing.
How would you describe your politics in 2009?
Well, I'm a socialist, but I think democracy is the most revolutionary idea, transferring power from the rich and powerful to people. And socialism tells you to understand the world.
Do you think socialism, as you've helped pioneer it in this country, is dead?
No. Health service, the most socialist thing we ever did, the most popular thing we ever did. And people don't like all this privatisation. No, I think people want the public services funded by the public for the public good.
Now, during the Second World War, you were part of Dad's army.
I joined Dad's army when I was 16, I was trained as a terrorist with a bayonet and a rifle and a grenade. If the Germans arrived, I'd have thrown a grenade through the window. And then I was a pilot, but the war ended before I went on operations.
You were a pilot in South Africa, and what was then Rhodesia?
I learned to fly in what's now Zimbabwe. When I was there was no democracy at all. All the good land had been stolen and given to white farmers. No African had votes, and it was a criminal offence for an African to have a skilled job, and now we lecture Zimbabwe on democracy. Total hypocrisy.
How do you think, after the MP's expenses scandal, trust can be regained in politics?
Well, the real issue is, does the executive, is it accountable to the legislature? The expenses is easy to deal with, you just stop them. Question is, does Parliament control the government, or do the whips control MPs? That's the big question. It's got to be sorted.
Now, your son Hilary is in the cabinet at the moment. 3 generations of Benn have been in the cabinet. What is your biggest remaining ambition?
Well, people ask me. I think my job at my age is to encourage people.
You're 84 now.
Yeah, I feel the function of the old is to encourage people.
You're officially retired, but you've crammed your retirement with a lot of things.
Yes, I did 8 meetings last week. I've got 3 or 4 this week. I do it all the time. That's what I want to do.
How do you wind down?
Well, I've got my pipe and a cup of tea, and that's all I need. I'm keeping alcohol for my old age.
Do you prefer radio or television?
Well, I enjoy both.
It's all up. Did that go quickly or slowly?
5 minutes is a short time.
It was really nice to see you.
Okay.